Good evening and welcome to Fantasy Formula One Podcast. I am your host, Paul, and tonight we are going to be discussing the driver bio of Lance Stroll. He drives the number 18 car for Aston Martin, and we're going to go through race by race and discuss his performance in 2023 and see what we can expect in 2024, at least as far as the fantasy F1 game is concerned. So he kicked off the season at $7.5 million, which is comparable to Fernando Alonso, who came out at $7.9. He is well increased, almost double his value to. He increased $6.5 million, so he finished the season at $14 million, or which would be about 14% of your $100 million budget for the season. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So for round one in Bahrain, Lance Stroll, he qualified 8th, finished 6th, which is fine. It's good. I mean, $7 million. For $7 million, you got 6 points. Sorry, for $7 million, you got 17 points. So again, really, really good for the first race. Then for the second race, he qualified 6th, finished 20th. He got a DNF, crashed out on lap 16. Not what you're looking for. And keep in mind, at this point, the same race that he crashed out, his teammate made a podium. So especially since they're comparable in price, in 2023, you would be going for Fernando Alonso, not necessarily Lance Stroll. And we'll talk about the actual team constructor here in a second. And then, as soon as I say that, race number 3, he qualified 6th, finished 4th for 21 points, which is good. Very good. Then in round 4, qualified 9, finished 7 for 18 points. In Miami, round 5, qualified 18, finished 12 for 12 points. This is really great. There was no round number 6. And so going into round number 7, right now, to look at how it was in 2023, Aston Martin as a constructor is doing pretty well, especially for their value. And Fernando Alonso is making podiums, so you want him. And Lance Stroll is not necessarily doing so good you would want him on your team, because remember, in this season, you had to have Red Bull as a constructor. You had to have Max Verstappen as one of your drivers, and at that point, over half your budget's gone. Roughly half your budget's gone, just in those two people. And you still had one more constructor and 4 more drivers to get. So, at least if I remember correctly, when I had, I didn't have Lance Stroll on my team really ever, because as soon as I had that $8 million to spend, I would go with his teammate. And then as soon as you get your Red Bulls on there, you needed to get somebody else on there. He just wasn't putting up enough points, which we'll get to in a minute. So in round number 7, Monaco, qualified 14th. He got a DNF, crashed out, lap 53, got negative 17 points. Then in Spain, qualified 6th, finished 6th for 16 points. Round number 9, Canada, qualified 13, finished 9 for 14 points. Okay, this is good. In round 10 in Australia, qualified 6th, finished 9th for 25 points. Very good. In round 11 in Great Britain, qualified 12th, finished 14th for 2 points. Not quite what we're looking for, especially when in that race, again, Fernando Alonso qualified 9th, finished 7th for how many points? 12. So if they're both equal, it's not like Red Bull or Mercedes, where you have the lead drivers and then their second drivers are still putting up very good points. These guys, they're putting up pretty much, they cost the same, but Stroll just isn't putting up as many as his teammate is, so you would go with Fernando over Lance Stroll. And still get the constructor of Aston Martin, because you're still getting double all these points added to what his teammate gets. So, round 12 in Hungary, he qualified 14, finished 10, got his first point and 9 fantasy points, which is great. Qualified round number 13 in Belgium, qualified 10, finished 9. So this is a good turn. He got 12 points, he got 2 FIA points, and so now he's in the bottom of the top 10, but he's consistently there, while his teammate is in the middle of the top 10. So, yeah, this is good. Round 14 in the Netherlands, up there goes. He qualified 11, finished 11, got 10 points. Round number 15 in Italy, qualified 20th, finished 16th, and got 7 points. Okay, so he just dropped down to the bottom of the bottom 10. Round 16 in Singapore, this was that really rough race. He crashed out, so he was not in this race. He wasn't replaced, nothing like that. He just didn't race. And the reason why is he crashed in... Let me see here. So there was the race. He just didn't... I'm going back. So he crashed in FP... Yeah, he crashed in qualifying. He got his lap time in, but then he crashed in qualifying, and so he was fine. He put up a qualifying time, but he did not participate in the race. So he didn't get a DNF. He just didn't drive. So he just gets 0 for everything. In round 17, Japan qualified 17, got a DNF. Went out at lap 20, got negative 14 points. And round 18 in Qatar, qualified 17, finished 11th, got 17 points. Okay, that's good. Round 19 in Texas, qualified 14, finished 7th. That's wonderful, got 10 points. Round 20 in Mexico, qualified 17th, got a DNF in lap 66 with only walked away with 8 points. But hey, he was still in the positive. But as soon as you're spending $10 million on somebody, you don't just need these positives. Here we go then. But round 21 in Brazil, qualified 14th, finished 5th, walked away with 18 points, which is good. His teammate Fernando Alonso, though, that was the race that Fernando Alonso got on the podium and got 39 points. So all over, as soon as you have $8 million or $10 million to spend, you're going to spend them on Fernando Alonso, not Lance Stroll, just because they cost the same. And some people do. I didn't. I'd advise against it, but in this season especially, you wanted to put your money towards McLaren. You want to put your money towards Red Bull. So Lance Stroll in round number 22 in Vegas, again, he qualified 14th just because qualifying was really a pain on this, but he finished 5th, which is great. Got 39 points. Wonderful. But at this point, at least with me, I was completely off of Aston Martin at this point. I was maybe dabbling, like I've said this entire podcast, right? You're going for Fernando Alonso, not Lance Stroll, and you don't have, at this point in the race, in the season, you don't have Aston Martin as a constructor, right? You have Red Bull and you have McLaren, or you have Red Bull and you have Ferrari if you can swing it. Abu Dhabi round 23, he qualified 17th, finished 10th, walked away with 11 points. So it's not that he did bad. It's just he came in as the same price as his teammate, and his teammate did better. So he raced all 22 races, which isn't actually accurate. It counts as him racing 22 races because he participated in the qualifying. However, he didn't actually race, but for statistics wise, he was there. He got 132 passes. Again, same as Kevin Magnussen. So he has the same number of passes, same ratio of passes as Kevin Magnussen. He has 12 top 10 finishes, so 54% of the time he finishes in the top 10. He also had 3 DNFs, which is the same as Kevin Magnussen and the same as George Russell in the Mercedes. But we're going back to, where'd it go? Lance Stroll, there we go. He finished the season at 14 points. He finished the season at $14 million and had 221 points, which puts him at a 0.75 points per million. And with him, it's not that he did not put up enough. The issue, like so many others, is that his teammate put up an additional like 150 points or 180 points than he did, all for the same initial price. So when you had bought in, if you had stayed with Fernando Alonso, you would end up with 150 points more, a 1.6 points per million instead of a 0.75 points per million. Again, it's not saying that Lance Stroll is bad or that he wasn't a strong contributor to the team. No, you absolutely wanted to get Aston Martin as a constructor, because then you have those double points. So whatever points you get for Lance Stroll also go to the constructor, right? The driver points also go to the constructor. So if you have the driver and the constructor, you basically get double their points plus whatever bonuses and stuff the drivers and the constructors get. So the issue isn't that Lance Stroll was not a strong driver. The issue was that as soon as you had the same amount of money, you just go for his teammate and you put his money toward getting one of the other bigger name drivers to round out your roster. So I'm really excited for 2024 to see what Aston Martin comes up with, because like I mentioned in the Fernando Alonso bio, and pardon me, my facts are a little bit rusty on it, but my details, I should say, are a little bit rusty on it. But halfway through the season, they started, they abandoned, if I remember correctly, they abandoned their car evolution, and they started going in a different direction. So I'm really excited to see what they come up with for 2024. Man, if they start out at 7.5 again, and as soon as you see them, as soon as that first race comes through, the money, the points, the cost of all these drivers doesn't skyrocket one race to the next. They go up in increments, small increments if they're doing pretty much normal, but a little bit bigger increments if they're doing really better. Keep an eye out. First race of the season, I wouldn't put Lance Stroll on your team right away, but as soon as coming out of the gate, Aston Martin, you have Lance Stroll and you have Fernando Alonso, both doing really, really well, or at least have Lance Stroll doing as well as Fernando Alonso, then you might want to, at least for one of your teams, look into getting that pair and Aston Martin, because nowhere else will you be able to come out of the gate and for under 20 million get a constructor and both drivers that'll put up this kind of points, and then it gives you a whole lot of other money to put towards other people. But okay, cool. That is it for Lance Stroll. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Cheers.